Survival mode can quickly hijack your faith, cloud your clarity, and distort your moral compass. When your nervous system stays dysregulated and there is that constant sounds of danger alarms, leaving you anxious, reactive, and spiritually disconnected, learning to recognize and trust your internal signals without letting fear take the lead. Welcome to Emotional Healing for Christian Women, the podcast where faith meets inner healing. Imagine waking up without the weight of shame, guilt, fear, and loneliness. Imagine finally feeling worthy, confident, and at peace. And doing this with God by your side. That's the healing we can begin together. I'm Marvel Adeyemi, a psychotherapist and a faith-led women's coach. Let's get started. Is one of the crucial steps to spiritual, emotional discernment and lasting peace. In this episode, we're opening the Bible not for a traditional theological lesson, but for a raw psychological look at a hero running on fumes, King David. So if you study the Bible, this isn't the David of Goliath. This is David running on exhaustion. He's making flawed choices and yet still being covered by God's sovereign grace. So we're talking about the painful reality of survival mode and how it can hijack your faith, your clarity, and your moral compass. Let's look at the truth about Saul. In the chapter, David says to himself, "I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul." Now, this statement wasn't theological. It was motivated by his exhaustion. So listen to the key insight of his intuition. That deep internal knowing was right about Saul's intentions. Our intuition is often God's compass for guidance, especially when our analytical mind is spinning from stress. When you're constantly dysregulated, your nervous system will be shouting alarm warning. So learning to trust that inner voice, even when you're afraid, is actually a powerful tool to keeping your peace. Because David was so desperate for refuge, he moved far away. He went to seek safety with Achish, the Philistine. Now think about the irony here. Sometimes the safety and validation we desperately need comes from unexpected sources, even someone whom we might consider an enemy or an outsider, while the people that we thought would protect us, like Saul, his father-in-law. In your case, it can be your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, your friend. It can become the very source of your unsafety. So this is a validation to you that you have chosen to create a family because your biological family is toxic. God can use anyone, anywhere, to be the shield you need in a season of fear. However, David's desperation leads to compromise. The Bible tells us that David deceived Achish. He would raid the Amalekites and he would claim he was attacking his own people in Judah. This is an ugly truth of survival mode. When you are fighting for your life, your character can often take a hit. You will do things you never thought you would do. Deceive, manipulate, cut corners, just to stay afloat. And I want to affirm to you, if you've made a compromise out of desperation, you are not alone. David, the man after God's own heart, he was there too. So acknowledge the lapse. Don't let the shame consume you. Survival mode is a fog. It's exhausting. It's impossible to hear God's voice clearly when your nervous system is constantly out of anxiety, causing you to make regrettable choices. If you're tired of operating out of a fear-based place and you're ready to move into a place of peace, of intentional peace and clarity, I want to invite you into a quiet place of rest. Set aside this moment and resolve that you will stop running or chasing anything else but God. Pray that your mind will stay on Him alone. Find quiet moments and surrender your fears and worries. Enter into God's rest, because this is truly that soft life you've been asking for. Now back to our story. The compromise of David only deepens. In the ultimate act of self-sabotage, David was ready to go into battle against Israel, fighting alongside the Philistines, the very battle that ultimately killed Saul. Now, survival mode distorts distorts our moral compass and logic. David was so consumed by fear of Saul, he was ready to commit a profound sin that could destroy his destiny. When you're triggered by fear and anxiety, you might hurt yourself, hurt your relationship, and this is a warning sign that you need a divine pause. But thank God for divine protection. The other Philistine commanders, they refused David. They said, no, we don't trust David. That rejection, which hurt David's feelings and felt like a humiliation, it was literally the thing that saved David's lives, his family, and his future. And so this is your healing lesson today. Every disappointment, the door that closed, the job you didn't get, the relationship that ended might just be a blessing in disguise. It's often God's redirection, saving you from your own limited fear-driven plan. The story of David continues. David returned from exile just as the battle that killed Saul, his greatest enemy, was fought. David didn't have to lift a finger in the final fight. God fought for David. The time of hiding, the compromises, the loneliness, it all came to an end. Hold on to the truth that is always darkest before the dawn. Your exile is temporary. Your deliverance is actually near. And remember the lessons in 1 Samuel 27. Trust your intuition. Seek safety wherever you find it. Forgive yourself for the compromises of survival mode. And trust the Lord's redirection. Even rejection is always his protection. Alright, that's where we end today's episode. If you love the message, please like, subscribe, share it with someone who needs this encouragement. Give it a thumbs up on my YouTube page. Subscribe to my YouTube page as well. Until next time, stay beautiful, stay confident, and keep your faith. Love you. Bye. Thank you for spending time with me today on Emotional Healing for Christian Women. If this episode blessed you, please leave a review and share it with a friend who needs encouragement. And don't forget to download my new book, Beyond the Hurt, from my website, marveladeyemi.com.au, and other free resources. Until next time, stay healed, stay beautiful, and stay confident.